aspects of regenerative agriculture and agroecological practices. We talked about why we need to move from fossil fuels to agroecological practices. We talked about how do you make the business case, how do you finance, how do we make sure that the definitions are appropriate and consistent. And today's session the session we're having now is slightly different. Here we want to use stories from farmers, from people who actually implement regenerative agriculture. And we want to believe that these stories will inspire us to show us that change is happening already. This is not some fairy tale. People are adopting these practices, thriving, and we hope that these stories will provide us with some inspiration to embrace regenerative and agroecological practices. So we're trying to be more creative. So we're going to use the TEDx style where you have speakers come up, show us a picture. So this is our own mini TEDx at COP. So you can please tag TEDx. And meanwhile, my name is Madueke Vivian, and I work with the Global Alliance for the Future of Food, and we are a strategic alliance of fantastic foundations who believe food systems transformation needs to happen now, and it can only happen when they work together. So we have a lineup of fantastic speakers, 6 of them from different regions. And I'd like to bring up Monica Yato. Monica Yato is our first speaker. We also have Tilak, and I will introduce them before they come in. But Monica started an organization called the Indigenous Women and Girls Initiative in Kenya. And one of the things I love about her organization, they don't just do agroecology and regenerative practices. They believe that people are at the center and women are at the center. How do you use these practices to help the women who are more vulnerable during the climate crisis? So I want to call you up now to just share the work that you do. And please, beyond the sharing, I want to put it out there. This is my advert of their work. So please connect with them after this presentation, see what they're doing, and find ways to amplify the work they're doing already. So Monica, please.
Thank you so much. Are you going to present the slides now? Okay, the video. So my journey started way back in 2019. I used to work as an advocate for anti-FGM campaigns, anti-gender-based violence, but I realized that was not making value to me. I realized our problem is poverty, our problem is anger. And when a woman, especially coming from a pastoralist community where decision-making is for men, where land is for men, where everything, we women belong to men in my community, I realized that we are not going to do anything. And for me, SDG 5 was too far away. We are jumping to SDG 13 now, but we forget that there is food. And SDG 1 and 2 is our problem. So I stopped doing advocacy, and I started doing right-based advocacy, now training farmers and training women to produce food sustainably. And that is the journey that started in 2019 with a group of 300 farmers in a village called Kisone location. After a church meeting, I told the area leader chief, now how do we stop this gender-based violence? There are so many cases in your office every day. And these women don't even have money to represent themselves and even have legal fees to have the court hearing, which is very expensive. I said, no, what do we do? How do we build the power in women? How do we build the power in girls? By giving them opportunity and the power to say no to GBV. And that's where our journey started. So this is... Kwa nini wakulima hawana pesa? Kwa nini wakulima ni maskini? Na tuko na shamba. Si ndio? So we can answer those questions among ourselves.
Depending on the seed that you're sowing. Kidogo tu.
My name is Edith Larpe. I'm working
working with the Indigenous Women and Girls Initiative, and today we had a stakeholder meeting with our stakeholders and farmers as well. And the purpose of this meeting today was to sensitize on the need of the farmers to fully transition to agroecology.
Mimi kwa majina naitwa Ruben Yakora, natoka Baringo South, Mlime, sub-location, Salmi Village. Natoka kwa kikundi ambayo inaitwa na Majana Lororo, na leo nimekuja hapa kwa mnajili ya ili tuongelee maneno ya organic farms na tuweza kufunza watu wengi. Kwanza nashukuru Monica pamoja na wafadhili ambao wametufaidi kwa sababu ya hii mradi. Tangia tulipopatana na mpaka siku ya leo tumeona mabadiliko kubwa. Sasa mimi wakati nilianza hii mambo ya kuwa katika kikundi cha farms, nilianza kuwa kielelezo katika kikundi changu. Nimeanza kuwa na mother to mother support ambao ilisaidia wamama pia jinsi ya kuwalea watoto wao bila kutumia chakula ambao imewekwa kemikali. Na kupitia hiyo mafundisho tuliweza kutoka mbali na tuliweza kufika mahali ambao sasa tumeanza kujifunza kwa mashamba zetu kupanda mimea ambao hatuwezi kutumia kemikali yoyote.
Sink water. And purpose number 3 is to store, obviously, changing a runoff. This will be used to store the water, to slow it, and to sink it into the soil.
Thank you so much. And why, I think some of you are thinking, why are we bringing in the young generation? Coming from a pastoralist community, agriculture is a form of punishment, especially to young kids. So to me, when we were doing this training session, a number of pupils were telling us they even didn't have breakfast in the morning, and asking them why, because my mother didn't cook breakfast. So back to me again, who prepares food? Who brings food in my community? They are women. So if they don't have that capacity to produce food sustainably, whom will the children blame for their malnutrition and also for gender-based violence and also violences in the community? They will blame women. So that is why we are training women and using women as a tool of change in the community and also sustainable transitioning. Somebody who's a pastoralist will know that in my community, even handling farm tool it's a new idea to us. So we are bringing that change. And for us to realize gender equality, we must start with agriculture first. And agriculture is agroecology. It's what we are now driving in at. So if you see that demonstration, we are reaching out to over 2,000 farmers now. So we have like 55 farmer groups of 20 each. So we are looking at 15,000 in the next 2 years, so that we see an agroecology transition economy. And we're asking now, we need to have a data now, if you can help us have a data, so that next year COP will be talking about large-scale agroecology transitioning in our community. So this is what we do in a nutshell, and we'll share more. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I know some of you may be wondering, why did we show all of this? It's just to show you the amount of work that our frontline leaders are doing. And we were fortunate to cooperate and bring 42 of them to COP because we believe they have a message for us. And what's also important is that agroecology and regenerative practices is not just about the farming practices, it's about the social benefits. How can we bring in gender? How can we bring in children? How can we bring in nutrition and reach the goals that we want to reach? So we've looked at the African region. Now we're bringing a fantastic farmer who has been farming for more than 2 decades. His name is Michael Taylor, and he's from Australia, running a fantastic integrated agroforestry farm, agroecology farm, regenerative, whatever term we choose to use. But his farm and his experience shows that change is possible. So over to you, Michael.
All right. Thanks for having me here. We're a family farm on the east coast of Australia. very different to what we've just seen. We've been here on this land for the last 180 years. I'm sixth generation on this land, which is, I know that's a pretty short history compared to many other countries in the world. Here we go. So this is where our farm is. We're at about 1,000 metres altitude. We have variable rainfall between 200 and 1,200 mils. Pretty old soils in Australia. It's probably something we're most well known for is our very old soils. So it's quite challenging. Very small area for agriculture in Australia, arable land. We're running between 4,000 and 6,000 merinos, producing ultrafine and superfine merino, and up to a couple of hundred cattle as well. Supposed to be getting through this quickly. So this is our family farm, a few photos from our farm. I usually talk about this for ages, but generally we love growing stuff, and we've integrated quite a few enterprises on our property, including agroforestry, which is what I'm here to talk about a bit more today. But our farm is a family farm, intergenerational farm. There's my family, and this is my wife and our 3 kids. We have a real sense of place here. New battery. So, next. We've seen a lot of changes on our farm. For the first 100-odd years, everything went along pretty smoothly. Then along came a lot of advances in agriculture in the 40s, 50s. The peak of land clearing in our area was throughout the 40s. Between the 40s and the mid-80s, we lost over 20% of our tree cover from the New England tablelands. New England dieback is well documented in Australia, and we're now seeing similar dieback occurrences through many other parts in Australia. Basically, a combination of over-clearing and breakdown of the ecosystem and improved agricultural practices led to much higher stocking rates, and we basically just weren't seeing trees come back. So it was in 1960 that my grandfather actually took his brother, who was an entomologist, out to have a look at some trees that were absolutely dripping in scarab beetles that were defoliating the trees. And my great uncle said that these beetles will be the death of the trees on the New England tablelands, and little did he realise how true that would be 30 years later, when 20, 30 years later, when we had lost a lot of trees. So between the mid-80s and it was probably the 80s drought that probably tipped my parents over the limit, with dust storms and massive loss of ground cover and no shelter for the livestock. So next. Faced a lot of challenges, but we've managed to bring the property back up to about 23% tree cover. So in quite a short time, we've revegetated. But it was it was a totally new enterprise for my parents. My father's a bit of a backyard engineer, and he developed a lot of equipment for getting trees in. We were very lucky that we had a state forestry industry just down the road, and we were able to draw on a lot of the forestry knowledge to get trees in quickly and efficiently and cheaply. But we were planting radiata pine, which is not native to our area, and there was a lot of kickback from ecologists and botanists that thought we should have been planting natives back in. So, but over time, look, we had to run the farm as a business, so we couldn't go out and buy specialty seedlings or attempt to do anything that we really had to be quite practical about how we were doing how we were planting trees, and otherwise our business would fail and we would lose the farm. So in Australia, where farms and very low subsidies, so we're running the farms as a business, and we're competing in a very commercial environment. So, a few photos from the farm. So I just want to, I've got 4 points. Doing has been a major catalyst for change on our farm. So we're here at COP. There's a hell of a lot of talking. Meanwhile, there's farmers all over the world doing a lot to grow your food and fibre. My parents jumped in not knowing exactly what they were doing, but they were doing something. And by doing something, they've been able to see the changes in the landscape. They never thought that they would be changing their grazing management because of tree planting. They never thought the mental well-being that would come from having the trees during the severe droughts. They never thought that aesthetics would be something. They never thought that they would start to see natural regeneration coming back with the change in the microclimate. Now, there was someone mentioned animal welfare and textile fibre production. There's an interest in where fibre's coming from these days, so animal welfare has been a big one for us. Tourism, a whole bunch of co-benefits have come out of these trees that could never have been predicted. So it's the black swan. We've been able to show that regeneration is possible. We've also been able to show that integration is possible. So the balance between conservation and production is possible. We're still producing as much or as more, and we're far more resilient through the extremes. So we've been part of a project since 2018 now that is now Farming for the Future. It's been sponsored by MacDoc Foundation, and that's measuring natural capital. There was a carbon study in some of our pine plantings back in 1992, a carbon study. I don't know whether many of you remember 1992, but the internet didn't exist. And carbon as a commodity certainly hadn't been considered. So this is just one of the many things that we've learned over the years. But Farming for the Future is now measuring and modelling the natural capital on our farm. And we're able to say with confidence that things have improved. We're able to... Early estimates are showing that we're sequestering over 200 tonnes a year on average on our farm. And that's without reducing production. So we're still producing food and fibre, and we're offsetting emissions. Total integration. Farms are never in isolation. So despite our farm being a little bit of a green island on the New England tablelands, the effects of our property reverberate across the region, and here I am in Dubai. So look, a big thing that's come out of the tree planting also has been the recognition that education and mentoring is incredibly important to the success. This is actually me back when I was in year 10, I think, school, still at high school. We had a little field day on our farm. We had over 6,000 people visit the farm that day to learn about. There's a real thirst for information out there amongst farmers. So recognising that education and mentoring of farmers is still incredibly important. So as I mentioned, measuring natural capital, talking about it, telling the story of how conservation and production and emissions offsets is really important. This is the carbon growing on our farm. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And even if you don't take anything away, you should take away doing is a catalyst for change. We shouldn't wait till we have all the puzzle pieces together. Another thing I took away from what you said is that there are core benefits beyond climate. there's an opportunity for tourism, an opportunity for training, teaching farmers. And another thing I took away is that there's a thirst for information. However, we need to make sure that the right information is getting to our farmers. And part of it is giving an opportunity for these landscape leaders to share the work that they are doing and hopefully share it with other farmers. And another thing I took away from this was the stack before and after. And what that shows is that when we push nature too hard, it works against us. But if we give nature room, it can regenerate and actually provide all the benefits that we should enjoy from nature. So with that, I would like to invite Karina from Latin America. She's from Brazil, and they will be hosting us in the next 2 years. She's an organic farmer, a woman who believes that women have a role to play in farming. She has been certified since 2012 as an organic farmer, and she has so much to share with us. Welcome, Karina.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really happy to be with farmers. Having farmers in COP are really important and are the base. Everyone here eats food, so if you eat food, someone are planting. So starting, I need to read something, but it's okay. So like Vivian said, I'm from Brazil, the south of Brazil, and I'm an organic and agroforestry systems farmer. And I'm not was born in a farmer family, and I decided to be a farmer because I did a choice of life, you know. So I became farmer because I chose a way to regenerate. You can put the presentation, please. Yeah. Okay. 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 It's because next is about the picture, but okay. I'm going to show you later a picture of the place I'm in Brazil. And when I arrived in this place, we saw that we was an island, because around us, there's only monoculture farmers. And we started to think about what to do with this place, because it's not easy to have a place. And once you have a place, you need to know what you are doing with nature. So we did this choice, and we start to think about what to do to regenerate this place. When we arrived at this place, we didn't have a road to arrive. We didn't have a house there. So, yeah, that's good. So look, what you see here, it's monoculture. But when you look, you can see a forest. And these forests are our farmer. And when we arrived there, like I was saying, we didn't have access, we didn't have house, we didn't have water access, and no electricity. So we start with a dream and with a desire to do something. We work with agroforestry system, and to talk about agroforestry system, what it's agroforestry system, I can take 1 day long to talk, but I only have a few minutes. So, but agroforestry systems are a way to produce food, and in this technique, we go with nature. We work together. So forests and nature know what to do. They know. Forests know, and the human go in the other way to produce food. And now what's happened? We are back to nature because we are watching disaster. And now we need to back. So this is a picture of our first year at the farm. And now we found the solution, and the solution is agroforestry system. We work with forestry principles. So we reproduce this principle in lines. So we grow in lines because it's more easy to work. And this is a picture of our land. We grow vegetables, we grow fruits, we grow mushroom, shiitake mushroom in logs, and we work with diversity. And diversity are really important because when you go inside the forest, what you see? Diversity of tree, of animals, of insects, of fungi. But we are talking about agroforestry. So what means we are together humans. So we have diversity of people too. So at my farm, I work with my husband, and we have the same voice. Women and men have the same voice, and these are diversity too. Because if you talk about agroecology, and we didn't talk about women in the powerful too, it's not agroecology. It's another kind of agriculture. So here we can go more. So we produce vegetables. You can see the broccoli here, if you look. But if you don't look close, you think it's a mix of plants. But it makes sense. You know, we can harvest fruits and can harvest lettuce, lots of plants. And here we have the eucalyptus that we cut and we produce shiitakes in these logs. Some fruits, we eat a lot too, so it's important to have food. This is my husband, and we represent a young and diversity farm in this picture. Right, you can go. So lots of picture about diversity. We cover the soil, so if you go inside the forest, you're gonna see always the soil covered. So we reproduce it too. You can go. So we sell our production at the street markets once in a week. And it's really good because when we started with the farm without anything, we didn't have harvest. So we bought the products of other farmers because we are part of Rede Ecovida. I don't know if you guys know, but PGS system of certification, we are a farmer network. So we are together with other farmers. And then we can buy production of their farms. So when we started and we didn't have harvest, what we did, we buy both of them. And now we have our production. So we sell it at the street market, and it's helped a lot to have a financial positive economy for our farmer. Because if you don't have money, we can't stay at the farm. Okay, you can go. So we have online shop too. We are talking about agroecology, but we like technology. We need technology, please. You can go. We process too. I have my shiitake here. I forgot to take it, but I really want to show. It's my shiitake production. We dry shiitake. So once we dry, we have 1 more year to sell it. We sell the shiitake fresh too, but we need to sell it in 1 week. So once we do that, we can have more time, and the shiitakes can go far. So it's really good for our work. So we have an agro industry here in our farm. And we share knowledge. So we have visitors from university, from school, because people want to see what we are doing. People want to see how to do it. So show them it's a way to share knowledge. And it helps too with our money, because sometimes we have visitors for free, like university. We don't ask for money, but sometimes we have a course. So people come to understand and to learn, and we have more money for our diversity of activities. So activities too, it's a kind of diversity. And like tourism too. So here it's a picture when you can see monoculture and agroforestry. And what I want to share with you by my heart is we need more people doing that. We need more people in agroforestry system, in agroecology system. And I'm really sad when I listen my neighbors saying, for example, they need to go to the city to become someone. It's not, and they think about that, you know? They think they need to go to the city, but it's not true. And we need people at the rural zone. We need these people. So to have these people, we need to share the knowledge. We need to give opportunity. We need to have money. So this is the key message I want to share with you. So next, if you want to change this land for more agroecology and agroforestry system, we need to have opportunity to these people stay in their land, or like me, go to the land. It's okay. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Karina. Thank you very much. And I'll try as much as possible to pick out the key points from this fantastic presentation. The first one is diversity of nature, and that has come up as a key message. We should move away from the monoculture towards diverse planting systems. And also another thing is agroecology regenerative practices is not just about climate change. It's about people. People are at the center. Gender is at the center. Indigenous rights. Let's make people at the center of all of that. And also, one interesting thing was, agroecology is not backward. There's room to use digital, right? Online shopping. Let's make it trendy so that young people see this as an opportunity and they can adopt it. Another key message here is that it's the same thing that Michael shared. There's hunger for knowledge. And how can all of us who are already practicing it provide knowledge for more people to transition? With that, I would like to invite another person from the Asian region, Australia Penunia, who is the Secretary General of the Asian Farmers Association. She's also a farmer herself. You're welcome. Yes. Please come up. Thank you very much. I hope we are getting inspired by all these presentations.
Hi, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for being here. So call me Esther. Australia is the name my mother calls me when she's angry with me. So as Viviana said, I'm the Secretary General of the Asian Farmers Association for Sustainable Rural Development. It's a regional level organization with members in 16 countries in Asia. And one of our bases of unity is to promote sustainable, resilient, agroecological systems in farms, fisheries, and forests. And we do this through the conduct of many capacity building on the ground now with the farmers, as well as sharing and knowledge and field visits where we learn what others are doing, what are their successes, and what are their challenges. And in this kind of knowledge exchange, I saw one farming couple who has provided inspiration to me in the Philippines. And the farming couple is Aming and Dante Pajaron. I should say next. So next slide, and then the next slide, please. So this is the introduction of AFA that I said. And then this is the farm of Aming and Dante Pajaron in the Philippines, where during AFA field visits, we visit this farm and we got to know what the couple, also a farming couple like Karina, is doing. So in Philippines, our member, Pakisama, National Farmers Organization, promote these integrated, diversified, organic farming systems. No? And what do you see in this integrated farm? Now, we hear about integrated and diverse. So you will see not monocropping. No? You will see rice fields. In Aming's farm, you will see a rice field, ducks, pigs, goats, chickens, not in the picture, vegetables, herbs, and goats also. So why are they there inside their 1 hectare farm? This species, these crops, these animals have a symbiotic or mutual relationship that benefits each other. So here, for example, the ducks eat the pests in the rice field, as well as tear the weeds in the rice field, and then the rice plant gets organic fertilizer from their manure. Okay, for the vegetables, like for example, they plant nitrogen-fixing crops like beans and legumes, which help also in improving soil health. No? And then the livestock in the field, like pigs and goats, they eat the waste. No? They eat the waste in the farm. So you reduce food loss and waste in the farm. The same time, their manure becomes organic fertilizer to the vegetables, to the fruits, to the fruit trees in the farm. Okay. At the same time, the farming couple is a member of a farmers cooperative in their district, and this farmers cooperative buys the rice from the farmer members, including them, mills the rice, and in this case they produce black rice, which pegs a better price in the market, organic black rice. So the farmers cooperative mills the rice and sells it to local market, and in this way the farming couple get better prices, no, because of the reduced number of middle traders, and at the same time the cooperative gives some dividends and profit sharing. Okay, so this farm was an inspiration to me. So, but before that, sorry. So they were awarded a family farming award in 2019, and they said that because of this integrated, diversified organic farming, they were earning $600 a month, which was thrice the income from the poverty line, no, in the Philippines. So these are this couple. So they became an inspiration to me, so that I tried to apply it in our farm. No? So in our farm, it's a 1 hectare farm, hilly farm, and the vehicles cannot come to the farm, so I have to walk. We have to walk like 30 minutes up to 40 minutes to go to the farm. No? But in that farm, we have lots of fruit trees. This one is santol. I don't know if you have them, but neighbors said that this is the sweetest santol in the neighborhood. Okay. So we have jackfruit, we have avocado, we have guava, we have bananas in the farm. Okay. But we also because we want to earn something, especially because we're thinking that this farm will be our retirement farm. So we have to earn from this. So we are looking into pepper and chili as our commercial crops. And our farm is located near a low-cost housing subdivision with around 11,000 families there. So we sell our product there. When we go down, walk down 40 minutes, the low-cost subdivision is there, so we sell there. So our partner farming family will harvest like 4 kilos of pepper or chili and bring it there, so he has something to buy rice and some food for his family. So we have this passion fruit, and we saw that this is very adaptive to our soil. So it takes very less care. So we're now planting like 40 passion trees in an efforts to commercialize this also into fruit juice later. Okay. So these are we also plant beans, spices. This is ginger. That is alugbati. That is a local indigenous vegetable. Very nutritious, also climate resilient. No? You don't need to care for it so much, and that is good for us who are always traveling. And we have chickens chickens just to enough for our waste, no, in the farm, and also to get manure, because we need manure from the chickens. And this one is a fish pond. We harvest water from our roof. Okay, we have 3 fish ponds, and we put some fish there. Mudfish, no, mudfish. So, and then the ducks swim here, no, in the pond. So there's also again a symbiotic relationship between the duck, the fish, and we have. Now there is no azolla there, but we have azolla also, because the azolla gives shade to the fish, and also the fish eat the azolla, and the azolla needs the manure of the fish to be able to grow. So this kind of relationship. Okay, so this is our vermicomposting. And that is my farmhouse, our farmhouse. And we said we would like the nearby surrounding of our farmhouse be surrounded by flowers, okay? And the benefits of this, we feel, is that we have available healthy, diverse, fresh, healthy food, okay? Even just a bunch of sweet potato leaves will be enough for us. Okay. Then some cash from the little surplus that we have, but also especially during COVID when we had to go to the field, no, many times, no, because of the mobility issues. We felt that we had fresher air and relaxing surroundings. Okay. But there are still challenges, like what Michael said. So basically, and this resonate with many of the small scale farmers that we work with. You really, when you want to transition to agroecology and you want to practice to agroecology, you need capital for investing. You need capital to buy the nets. You need capital to buy the equipments, for agroecology. And then lack of agriculture extension support. One time we planted eggplants, 1,000 hills of them. It was infested by fruit flies. So I had to call our farmer guru. What would we do? No, we could not find what to do in the website, no, of in the website or in the Google. And then lastly, inadequate security of tenure. No? Because our farm is in a watershed area and we don't have any paper to show that we are like right holders to that farm. No? So anyone can grab the land for us. So we had to organize ourselves so that to fight our rights for the land. So our recommendation, and that's why we are here in COP28, is that we want to raise this, no? To amplify this recommendation that we need to fully practice agroecology because of the benefits that one can have, no, for people, nature, and planet. So we need to be recognized as stewards of climate resilience. Our organizations should be recognized as partners in food system transformation. And then when we say recognize, it means also increased climate financing directed toward family farming organizations so that we can fully implement agroecology as effective partners of governments, philanthropies, and other foundations. Support family farmers to adapt to climate change through increased direct climate financing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Esther, for that beautiful presentation. As always, I'll try to recap what stood out for me. I'm sure something stood out for you. She was inspired by another person's farm. And that's the point of all these stories, that we are inspired to take the message back home and change our practices. Not just our practices, what we fund, what we support. If we're hired as consultants, what do we advise the government? So I hope we all are also inspired to do something differently. Another thing that came up is integration. You can see agroecology and regenerative system is the complete opposite of monoculture. There's a need to integrate livestock, nature, cropping systems, people. And also, I hear her talk about the same thing, our first two speakers spoke about, knowledge sharing. They needed an extension worker to help them sort out the pest infestation. And more likely, if they didn't get that information, they have no choice but to resort to the chemicals that we don't want. Therefore, our role is to make sure that we're getting the knowledge out there, equipping farmers to stay consistent and transition to agroecological practices. With that, I would now like to invite Tilak. Tilak is from Sri Lanka, and I'm mentioning this against Sri Lanka because the story of Sri Lanka is always used as a story against agroecology and regenerative practices. Feel free to Google Sri Lanka and the transition to organic. Now, it's a one-sided story. And one thing I love about Tilak, he tries to provide the balance with his on-ground experience, having transitioned within Sri Lanka. It wasn't just a case of the government moved to organic and farmers revolted. There is more to the story, and I hope that Tilak will be able to share more. You're welcome.
Thank you, Vivian. I think it is a great opportunity after all these speakers to tell something. I will take this opportunity because in a way we are mixing all these systems, because some people always says, oh, we are only doing agroecology, we are doing only organic farming. There is a more the discussion about regenerative, but we do all these things together with the agroforestry system, but we have our own system. It is called analog forestry. You see how it is. Oh, yeah, yeah. This one? Yeah. Ah, right. This is how our ecosystem. Especially all this forest feeding to this paddy field. All days we were not into any chemical input. This is how agroecology was work into the different level. You see, each paddy field, the people living in middle and with the small forest. But the system was changed with the Green Revolution. And now we have to bring the input from the outside. The even how to grow your own vegetable, we have to teach now. This is some of the cities in middle of the country. We are the giving a kind of with this background systems how to grow their own vegetable under the different conditions. This is the part of Colombo. We are one of our the volunteer is teaching about how to do the city gardening. This is how they are teaching them, and it is we are getting we are asking why you are putting chemical into your food. This is how we are promoting it in a way. Now people are getting into this, even though we are this is in white suit. She's the family health officer. She goes to visit pregnant mothers and together with one of our volunteer here, and in her nutrition instruction she also giving don't eat poisonous food. And that is an advantage we are using to talk about how to grow their own food in their backyard or the maybe in the rooftop. This is rooftop, how it is happening. And we want to talk about this system. This is called analog forestry. Analog forestry system, it's a system where you can do agroforestry, but maintaining management is can be get involved, as she was telling about, as Michael was telling about. When you do farming, you have to have a understanding where you are doing this. This is the our volunteer who wrote who draw the landscape before turn it to the unlock forestry. This is the plan for that particular farm. The we are thinking what are the boundary, what are the counters, the galleries, the rocks, where it is situated. We should plan. That is our role to teach the farmers. This is how if you get into this, you may have a different needs. You have a forestry need, you have the food need, maybe cash crop, and we are integrating everything into that system. This is that particular model. You have 6 coconut trees, you have 10 umbrella trees, you have 5 nutmeg trees, and like that you see how diversity is if you are planning very well. This is we are talking about at least 4 to 5 canopies. Top canopy you get the big trees, and from the grassroots even you get the podder. And this is how you have to plan with the farmers. Where that you see how it is going to happen. This is the place where we got request to turn it to agroecological farm. This is the land. This is the land you have seen that the map. This is after the 9 month. You get after 2 years this. So how it is? If you plan it well, you can do the change. But as she said, nature will understand how to do this. You see, this coconut land, if you are monocropping with only coconut, you see how different crops can be. That is, you see in the soursop, pineapple. In here you have a vegetable. Even you get cinnamon into the boundaries. Like that, we turn it rubber land into a kind of wood forest. And you see when if the monocrops happen only rubber, these things were not farmers kind of the focus. We teach them how to do this, and when you do it, and farmers will catch up immediately. This is how the pepper and all the agroforestry. This is a mature land, and we were from the beginning. We were there after 20 years. This farm, how you can see, our organization is old, nearly 40 years. We are the one of pioneer farms here. How it was work with those things, you see, we have to create a nearby market, as he said. This is where the Sunday fair. The farmers could bring it their product. The nearby community can come to that place and get without going the food miles. Today we are talking about food mile. This is where we can promote in the system. And this is, we are thinking, we are promoting no agro-diversity without farmers, right? And we are talking about everything. This is the rice storage. That is giving a kind of the good storage, and this is made out of clay. You can keep many years without even the seed paddy, without any damage. This is how diversities work. I think we are all same. What we have said, we have to change in the different level, because the Sri Lankan government has done the one wrong thing. They have transition in overnight. That is not the request from the beginning. Even we said this has to be a kind of the process where the policymakers has to get to understand, and also government extension workers has to understand how can you promote agroecology if the 100% chemically fertilizer is subsidized. You can't do that. And that has to equally give it to the agroecology or organic farming as well. Then the risk is similar. The farmers will choose which one I go. But in the nowadays, what is happening, the 100% subsidy is given to the chemical fertilizer, not single sent it to the earth servers who do the agroecology or the organic farming. That is why our role has to be very sharp. And the Lanka Organic Agriculture Movement, we are talking, we are working with we have nearly 20 staff. We are working all over the country. We are in a way we are doing the policy lobbying. Other way we are also promoting farmers market. And the biggest work is the extension. The extension, people who committed to go into organic without even having subsidies, they are our target. We are helping to them, and we can bring more into that, because there are convinced farmers, but we need support. That is why these philanthropy communities' help is much needed, and we can do much more change in future with the COPs.
Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. One thing I took from his speech or his presentation is, how can we use health workers as an advantage? How can we see agroecology and health connected? and work with community workers so that as they talk to people about the implications of the use of pesticides and chemicals, that motivates them to transition. Because there must be a motivation for people to transition. It can be for profit reasons, but it can also be for health reasons. Another thing I got from him is that start, because change is possible. You can see the farmlands after a couple of years, just 2 years, right? How much change happened. And also the need for localization of food systems, right? Karina selling to the local market, Tilak selling to the local market. So there's a need for localization of food systems. And then policies. If most of the subsidies are going to chemicals, then there isn't a level playing field. So how do we make sure that it's balanced and the risk is fair for farmers who transition? And with that, I want to bring on board Simon, who is our final speaker from the European region. Please.
Thank you so much, Vivian, and thank you so much to all the amazing presenters so far. I'm personally already very much inspired. I have the humble and amazing pleasure to present to you voices from Europe. And I think these voices align very well with everything that you said. We founded the European Alliance for Regenerative Agriculture. It's an independent and farmer-led alliance to work for community building among farmers, peer-to-peer knowledge exchange, but especially also for governance change, and to bring the voices, as you said, of the farmers that should lead our governance systems. And we are also all about diversity. So from young women in the south of Greece to older men in the north of Scotland, to big farms in the east of Europe, arable farms, to small organic farms, to community-supported agriculture, all the farmers that self-identify with practicing regenerative agriculture for regenerating nature, communities, and food security together. And they will now talk to you themselves.
So my name is Shaila Darmos. I come from Greece. I represent Regenerative Farming Greece and the Southern Lights non-profit organization. I'm a farmer myself. Regenerative agriculture to me is a way of farming where you actually actively regenerate the ecosystem while producing very healthy food at the same time. So in my place, we really plant a lot of biodiversity. We do agroforestry, we have fruits, we have olives. We really plant a very dense, huge biodiversity in a lot of layers, and it's just amazing to observe the results. Like every year you're here and you observe different insects and new birds that come to join the ecosystem. We also have a lot of support species. We do a lot of chop and drop. We want to improve the soil fertility and have fungi and all of this cool stuff in the soil. And it's really very empowering, actually. Like it really helps you to advance faster because you just find the right partners in doing a specific project. It's just very, very cool.
I am Matteo Mazzola. I'm a farmer from the north of Italy. Regenerative farming is a tool that can allow us to step back from an egocentric structure of life to a more ecocentric. So it's just a tool. For me, it's not the end of the objective. It's a tool toward the re-merging of the humans with nature. We don't have to think that is the only tool. There are many tools in order to get back to a more fruitful relation with nature.
So I'm Géraud, I'm from Belgium, and I represent a few farmers more in the conservation agriculture in Belgium. We are involved since a long time, and I'm here because I believe that we have between farmers to find a good way to preserve what we believe in it. And I think it's good that we have organic and not organic farmer, but we have the same goals, that to have a good future with agriculture and to heal a bit the planet, the ground and the people. I think it's important to be together too, because farmers are just something like 2% of the community and the people. Even for organic or conventional agriculture, we are just maybe 5% of the farmers. So we just be really nothing. So it's important to get together and to talk about like a definition, or maybe to find what is regen agriculture. A lot of companies want to use this name. They will sell it for nothing. It's important to keep that from the farmers, and we keep these ideas.
Hi, my name is Anna Juhas. I'm from Hungary. I'm interested in the future of our planet, and I think regenerative agriculture is the key. And I think it's high time that we group ourselves together and make a stand. For us farmers to get together and to put our little heads together and thoughts together and put our voices together and make ourselves heard. Because one farmer at a time might not be able to make such a gigantic change, but if we all connect together and if we all know that we have the backing of our fellow farmers through EARA, then we can actually achieve much greater steps in life.
Yes, and we were here invited yesterday and we launched our white paper, and this is what I would like to share with you, because I think it's very important for us as farmers to build the voices and actually where we want to go. And I invite you all, it's on our website, eara.farm, you can download it, and we want to give a vision by the farmers themselves, how we can move towards and move together towards regenerative agri-food ecosystems. And maybe I can just end by giving you a few key messages that we come up with. That is, firstly, that we want to steward and motivate decision makers with the insights of the farmers on the ground. And the first thing that really came up is that we want decision makers with living systems, worldview thinking to approach our problems. And that we want to transition towards agri-food systems, as also you said. This transition should be farmer co-led and people, farmer and eco-centric. And as also mentioned by one of the farmers, by Géraud actually, that claims on regenerative agricultures of companies should not be shallow, but should be systemic, should include economic and social health, a part of ecological health, should also include holistic ecological health and outcomes. Then we want really that agricultural subsidies that are over $817 billion each year we spend as societies, as our taxpayers' money, on agricultural subsidy. So far, really, as you said also, to subsidize fertilizers, to subsidize pesticides, to subsidize maybe land ownership. Instead, we want to transform those payments into agro-ecosystem health payments so that farmers really get remunerated, as also you said. And lastly, of course, that land access and rights for indigenous people, for farmers, for land stewards should be guaranteed. Also that in our current systems as stranded assets, the market and power asymmetries should be called out and faced head on and not be stewarded around. And lastly, I think it was also mentioned before that we need to and regrow our agri-food systems into their bioregions. And this is what I would end on, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Simon. Thank you very much. As a recap, the movement is building, change is happening already. And the more we can connect farmers, like they say, as I'm speaking now, my voice sounds like a whisper to somebody down the road, but I'm sure if all of us put our voices together and scream at the same time, it becomes louder. So what that means is, irrespective of the region, irrespective of your location, farmers need to come together to show that this is happening, to share knowledge among themselves. I also hear you talk about holistic outcomes. I think that has come up severally. It's not just about environment and climate metrics, it's about social, it's about people, is about health as well. So I just want to say thank you to all our speakers for inspiring all of us. And I want to leave all of us with, based on all that has been shared, I want to leave us with 6 key messages from these sessions. The first one is, doing is a catalyst for change. We can't wait for perfect scenarios, right? We have a goal. We need to transition away from fossil fuels. How we get there, right? We all have to align and know that doing is a catalyst for change. And thank you, Michael, for that quote. The second one is, it is possible. Change is possible. We're not locked in. We have a way out. And all these examples show that we can actually transition away from the monoculture, industrialized food systems towards, production practices that are good for nature and people. And then the third message is different settings, different contexts. In Australia, we have a larger farm. In Kenya, we have a small farm. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the outcomes, the practices, that they are similar. There will be different contexts, different ways that agroecology and regenerative agriculture is applied. But what matters is that we're aligned on the principles. And then the fourth message is core benefits, people at the center. There's an opportunity for business, for tourism, for nature. And then the fifth one is treat nature right, and nature will work for you. That's the fifth message. And then the final message is there is a hunger for knowledge. People want to transition. Sometimes they don't know how, where to start. And for all of us in the room, how do we create that opportunity for people to transition? And also bear in mind that narratives matter. Before I introduced Tilak, I talked about Sri Lanka, used as an example for why organic agriculture did not work. And we have to make sure that the knowledge systems, the narratives, that we're providing an alternative, providing hope that it is possible to transition. And I believe we've inspired all of you to take the message out there. The movement is building, the change is happening, and we all can take part in it. So thank you all so much for joining us today. All right. So now we can all retire for the day, hopefully, or join other sessions. Thank you once again. All right.